All right, get this. Imagine an AI model so powerful, so advanced, that the Pentagon literally tries to blacklist the company that made it, calling it a national security threat. I mean, sounds like a movie plot, right? Well, it's not. This actually happened this week. This is a tech news roundup from 2,500 news articles in the last 24 hours. Coming up, we are going to unpack the story behind the AI leak that has the Pentagon on high alert. We'll follow the money as markets react to all these geopolitical shocks. And later, we'll give you a strategic playbook to navigate what's coming next. So what's really going on here? Let's break it down.
Okay, first up, let's get into your daily bulletin.
Let's get you up to speed with the day's top 10 headlines. First, a bombshell leak from Anthropic reveals an advanced AI model, Claude Mythos, with some pretty unprecedented cyber risks. And in a direct response, a federal judge just blocked the Pentagon from blacklisting Anthropic as a national security threat. Wow. Gamers, you're not going to like this. Sony announced another global PS5 price hike. We're talking up to $150, blaming chip costs. In a huge shift, Apple officially discontinued the 20-year-old Mac Pro workstation line. End of an era. OpenAI's US ad pilot. It's soaring. We're talking past $100 million in annualized revenue. Google's Gemini AI is making a play for your data, now letting you import memories and chats from rivals like ChatGPT. On the security front, Iran-linked hackers have reportedly breached the personal email of FBI Director Kash Patel. The EU is turning up the heat on social media, launching a formal probe into Snapchat over child safety concerns. Meta is doubling down hard on AI, boosting its investment in a Texas data center to a staggering $10 billion. And finally, travel tech is seeing a massive surge in AI-driven investment and innovation.
Now for a big story, the Anthropic leak. Look, this isn't just about some new piece of tech. It's about a fundamental shift in what AI can do, and the power struggles that, naturally come with it.
So to really get what's happening here, we have to talk about something called agentic AI. This is not just another chatbot, okay? We're talking about an AI that doesn't just answer your questions. It acts on them. It can autonomously plan, reason, and carry out complex, multi-step tasks to hit a goal. I mean, think of it as the leap from a calculator to a self-driving car. That's the scale of change we're looking at, and this leaked Claude Mythos model is reportedly at the very forefront of this whole revolution.
And this really gets to the heart of the conflict. On one hand, Claude Mythos is a huge breakthrough in reasoning and problem-solving. But, and this is a big but, that exact same power creates some terrifying new cybersecurity risks. I mean, we're talking about the potential for super sophisticated, automated supply chain attacks that could basically cripple entire industries. So the question becomes, is this a tool for progress or is it a weapon in disguise?
Which, of course, brings us to the standoff. First, details about the model's capabilities were accidentally published online. Whoops, the Pentagon immediately tried to designate Anthropic a national security risk, pretty much trying to blacklist them. But then, in a really dramatic turn, a federal judge stepped in and temporarily blocked the move, calling it government overreach. So, the bottom line is this. This isn't just some corporate drama. It's a battle over who controls the future of powerful AI. This clash between national security and the just relentless pace of innovation is going to define the rules in the game for years. And why does this matter? Because the outcome determines not just how fast this technology evolves, but whether we can even build the safeguards to make sure it's used for good.
Big tech news always moves the markets. So let's follow the money and see exactly how investors are reacting to all of today's headlines. Yeah, it has not been a good week for tech stocks. The Nasdaq actually had its worst week in nearly a year. You can see the steep decline here, and it's really driven by this mix of geopolitical jitters from the Iran conflict and just mounting regulatory pressure on big tech. But even amidst all that red, some are doubling down. And I mean doubling down hard. Meta is boosting its investment in a Texas AI data center to a jaw-dropping $10 billion. So even though they're facing layoffs and legal battles, this is an all-in bet on building the deep infrastructure that's going to power the next generation of AI.
Meanwhile, Apple is officially closing a chapter, discontinuing the iconic Mac Pro after a 20-year run. It's a major strategic shift for all the professional creators out there, and it marks a pricey end to an era, especially when you remember its infamous optional $700 wheels were once voted the worst Apple product ever. Yeah, you heard that right.
So let's break it down. Who won and who lost today? Well, the winners column clearly has OpenAI, with its ad pilot revenue just skyrocketing, and Google, which is cleverly expanding its AI ecosystem by making it super easy to switch. On the losing side, you've got Sony, facing a ton of consumer backlash over yet another PS5 price hike, and frankly, any investor who's just trying to navigate this insane market volatility. But hey, these market shifts are more than just numbers on a screen, right? They have real-world consequences for people, for companies, and even for entire nations. Let's take a closer look at the global fallout.
Yeah, these headlines aren't just numbers. They have real-world consequences for real people and for nations all over the globe. Let's break down that global fallout.
So if you look at this impact assessment, it is a really mixed bag. For developers, it's a total double-edged sword. You get powerful new tools, but with them come these heavy new security and ethical burdens. For startups, the outlook is actually pretty positive as AI-focused funding keeps pouring in, especially in travel and fintech. Enterprises, they're more neutral, kind of facing a reality check on actually implementing their big AI ambitions. And for consumers like you and me, more features, sure, but at the cost of higher prices and more privacy risks. Investors, meanwhile, are understandably pretty cautious right now.
Now let's take a quick trip around the globe. The US is facing a negative outlook with those stock slumps and that high-stakes tension between AI innovation and national security. The EU is mixed. It's aggressively regulating big tech, but at the same time, it's delaying its own AI Act. China is also mixed, pushing hard for tech self-sufficiency while trying to navigate US sanctions. And while the conflict in the Middle East is creating all this negative volatility, Africa actually emerges as a bright spot with positive growth in digital adoption.
Okay, all this news can feel a little overwhelming. So, the big question is, what should you actually do about it? Here is your strategic playbook with some real actionable takeaways based on your role in the tech world.
All right, if you're a developer out there, listen up. Your number one priority should be secure coding to help mitigate these new AI supply chain risks. And seriously, you need to get skilled up in agentic AI architecture. That is where everything is going. For founders, focus your applications on having clear security and compliance roadmaps. Target those niche opportunities that are opening up in cybersecurity, fintech, and travel tech.
For you enterprise leaders, it's time to immediately review and beef up your AI risk governance and security protocols, like right now. Adopt multi-cloud strategies to avoid getting locked into one vendor. And for investors, you need to do rigorous due diligence on your portfolio companies, specifically looking at their geopolitical and regulatory exposure, and keep a very close eye on the companies who are leading the charge in cloud AI infrastructure.
So, where does all of this leave us? Let's take a look at what the road ahead might look like.
Based on all the data, here's what we can expect. We are going to see an accelerating deployment of AI agents in cybersecurity. Investment in AI cloud infrastructure is going to continue to boom, and the regulatory debates are only going to get more intense. What's going to stay stable? Well, the geopolitical tensions that are impacting our tech supply chains. And the knock-on effects of all this? Well, you can expect increased legal scrutiny for tech companies and, unfortunately, rising hardware costs for all of us consumers.
And this all leads us to the one crucial question that today's events really force us to confront. As AI gets exponentially smarter, as it becomes capable of taking autonomous action, can our human safeguards, our laws, our ethics, our security, can they possibly keep up? Visit newsbite.tech for more tech news and bites.